I'm Enzo.
And I'm Reyna.
And this is the Date Night Horror Show. So, it looks like we're back. Why am I hearing a crow?
I don't know. Must be outside from all the rain we're getting today.
Oh, the crow's excited that we're back. Yeah, so we're...
it's a good omen.
Yeah, it's been a while since the last episode, but not too long. We're doing our best to actually do this a lot more regularly. We've been watching a lot of horror, like always.
Yep.
Never stops. Never stops. But we have come back with a new episode with a couple of new movies that we're excited about. One in the theater and one we just saw on VOD because that's it's recently available for that. So I figured it would be a good double feature episode of some cool new horror movies.
Yeah,
that we saw.
Finally, some good horror.
Yeah. So, what have you been up to lately? Like, what's been going on with you?
Oh my God!
Not that I have to ask you.
I know we're married,
but I'm.
I don't know. I guess the last thing we did was we went to a horror convention.
That's true. We can talk about that. Yeah.
We went to Creepy. No.
We went to Midsummer Scream.
Oh yeah, Midsummer Scream,
which we absolutely loved. We went to last year's Midsummer Scream, but we were dopey about it. We were kind of virgins to it, so we didn't know how long the lines got.
Oh my God, that was insane. Yeah,
so like last year, Reyna went as a female Leatherface, which was one of my favorite costumes we've done.
That was fun.
Because it was so cool. Of course, we saw a bunch of Leatherfaces, but we didn't see any other female Leatherfaces.
Right.
And you were the only one.
That was fun.
And when the Leatherface people would see each other, you know, you guys would quietly, like you were like siblings. It was really cool.
It was cool.
And I was dressed as the human fly.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah. And that was super fun. But anyway, we ended up waiting in these really crazy lines, like an hour and a half. Just to get into the convention.
It seemed longer than that, but I'm sure it was just an hour and a half, but it seemed like 4 hours.
Yeah, so this year
it was hot.
We decided to get the VIP that we wouldn't have to wait. But they organized the lines a lot better, so the lines weren't as crazy.
Yeah,
even
it was really
for non-VIPs.
They really did a good job of reorganizing and managing those lines.
Yeah. I really hope that people can't hear that crow. That crow is going crazy.
Sounds like more than one.
Yeah. So anyway, the Midsummer Scream was really awesome. We went as our favorite characters from What We Do in the Shadows. So if you ever go to one of these LA conventions and you see a Nandor and a Nadja and a guide, our friend Alex is the guide. That's probably us.
Yeah. And I have a doll. I'm the only Nadja that I've seen so far with a doll.
Yeah, someone copied you, I think. Because I remember after you did the doll, at a next convention, some girl had a doll. And I thought, I bet you they
Were
saw
we at that convention? Or was it a picture?
It was, I don't remember what it was, but I remember we went to HorrorCon, the first HorrorCon, which I really had a great time at.
Yeah, it was fun.
These horror conventions are super fun. If you live in the LA area and you're a horror fan, you will be blown away by the fandom. You'll see entire families dressed in horror. You'll see 9-year-old girls dressed as Pearl.
Yeah.
Like, it is awesome.
But some of these conventions are in different cities in the U.S., so you should check it out.
Yeah.
But maybe not this one in particular, but...
Yeah, I'm just talking about our
but I'm just saying.
Yeah. But anyway, and this particular Midsummer Scream, which I never want to miss one because I think they're so fun, and they're basically it's like the size of 4 of regular ones.
Yeah, this one's
just
big.
Massive.
This one's really big.
If you work in the video game industry like I do, it's like going to a horror movie E3. Like it's that big. It's massive, and they do
or a convention, not movie.
Yeah, it's sort of like a Halloween / horror movie convention. So it's kind of celebrating the fandom. There's even mazes. They do these mazes in a dark area that you can go to. So it's almost like a little mini horror maze
park,
yeah,
like Universal
like a
or
horror park. Yeah,
Not Scary Farm.
yeah, exactly. So
They also have panels, and this year what was really cool, which I was very excited for, were the Boulet brothers.
yeah,
They were there. The line was huge to see them. Their booth was huge, which was awesome.
It was right at the beginning too.
Yeah, right when you come into the exhibition hall, it's the Boulet brothers. So I thought that was really cool that they were there. And then the most
exciting part,
yes, was that Harvey Guillen was there, who plays Guillermo.
And he was a last minute addition. So we were gonna go as What We Do in the Shadows because we love the show so much. And I told Reyna, I'm like, let's just do that because the new season's on, this season's been
really
hysterical, like really outlandish, which I've really enjoyed. And so we're like, yeah, we'll go because it's not too elaborate. We can have a good time, and those costumes feel very comfortable on us. Probably because we're really vampires. But, so we decided to do that, and then Harvey's there, and so everyone that saw us, they're like, Harvey's here, right? And we're like, well, no, we didn't know. So
yeah, because he was not on the original list of actors that were going to be there.
Yeah, he was an addition.
So we got to meet him. That was so exciting.
Yeah, and the lines were really long to meet him. So then we were kind of hovering around and kind of, let's just enjoy everything. And then when the lines died down a little bit, we'll go and see him. And that was my favorite part of the whole convention. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, he was so cool. He was the line was really, we got in, he had taken a break, so we got in right at the right time. There was maybe a few people before us.
Mm-hmm.
And he took the time with everyone to talk to them.
Yeah, he was very sweet.
And make sure that, it wasn't just, a picture and then get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. And then when we got to meet him, he got excited to see that we're dressed as the characters.
Yeah.
And complimented us that we looked great. So that was nice.
Yeah.
And we took a picture with him, but then he also took a picture with us, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, so that was really neat. And then he gave us some, tidbits about what's coming, kind of nothing specific.
Yeah.
On what we do in the shadows.
Yeah, and when I first walked up to him, I did the Nandor voice. So I dressed as Nandor, which is probably my favorite character. And I'm like, oh, Guillermo, what are you doing? Why are you signing everything? You are not important. I am important. And he was laughing, and yeah, it was just really funny. And then all three of us, Reyna, myself, and the guide, our friend Alex, we're all Mexican Americans. Yeah. So Guillermo means a lot to us because
Harvey means a lot to us.
Yeah, seeing that character,
that character,
seeing that character on a series like that, when you've had representation your whole life, it's not a big deal to you. But when you haven't, it's a big deal to you. So, we told him, we're all Mexican Americans. You mean a lot to us. Seeing you on the screen is awesome for us. Seeing him speak Spanish sometimes, seeing the moments with his family.
I love those.
We can completely relate with. So it's really cool. I have one story about representation that I think is really funny. So when I dressed as Nandor originally for the horror con, I was walking along, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "You're Nandor, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm Persian, like him. What about you?" That's what he said to me, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "Mexicano." That's how I responded. He looked at me and he went, "Close enough."
I love it.
And he put out his hand and we sort of hugged.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really, really, really funny. But
that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I forgot that we were doing the convention thing. Mm-hmm. Around Los Angeles when spooky season starts to happen, everything starts to ramp up.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's another horror convention called Days of Dead coming up.
Yeah.
That's coming up this weekend. So there's that. And then Halloween Horror Nights, they're starting up sooner. Earlier this year, like right at the beginning of September. So we're right at the cusp of Halloween season, which is super cool. Which leads me to all the awesome horror that we've watched recently. And most recently, we went out to the theater to watch The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which I was insanely looking forward to.
Yeah, we did that for your birthday.
Yeah. Of course, I'm a huge vampire fan. And when you set out to do a Dracula movie specifically, my ears perk up.
And your fangs come out?
Yeah, and it was my birthday weekend, so I'm like, there's nothing more I want to do than watch a bloody vampire movie, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's what we did. So, so the idea is we talk about Last Voyage of Demeter, which we saw in the theater, and then maybe we do that last, as like the big review. And then before that, we can talk about this movie we just saw, video on demand, Cobweb.
Yeah. So Cobweb is new. It's a 2023 movie. Mm-hmm. And it's an 8-year-old boy who tries to investigate the mysterious knocking sounds that are coming from inside the walls of his house, unveiling a dark secret that his sinister parents have kept hidden from him. And it has some really good actors in it. It has Lizzie Kaplan, who plays the mom, and Anthony Starr, who's in The Boys, that plays the dad. Guy. Yeah. Really, really good. Really surprised. We weren't sure what to expect, I don't think.
It's interesting because one of the things I have to tip my hat to them for is, me, I always take the bullet and I watch the trailers because Reyna doesn't want to watch any trailers. She doesn't want to see anything before she watches the movie. So I'm always combing for stuff. And on Facebook, I'm on these horror groups, tons of them. And this movie kept coming up and it was sort of polarizing. Some people thought it was just okay. Some people thought that it was really fun. So I'm like, this one I'm going to put on my radar. And I went to see the trailer for it on VOD on Amazon. And the movie was very intriguing. And I'm like, well, let's see what this is about. So then when we watched the movie, it wasn't at all what I thought the movie was in the trailer. Like, the trailer did a really good job of disguising the film.
My favorite type of trailer. I had to watch one.
It showed imagery, but it kept it very cryptic. So it's like, what the fuck is going on? And when you watch this film, it sort of unravels. You think, oh, it's this kind of movie, and it's not. Oh, it's this kind of movie, and it's not. And then, oh, it's finally this movie. Oh, shit. Wait. Oh, so...
Because right off the bat, the parents are creepy, and you can't put your finger on why they're creepy.
Right. So you're not sure if it's supernatural thing or if it's the
parents are evil thing.
Yeah, like if it's just an abuse, abuse film
they're messing with the kid.
Yeah. What did you think of the movie overall? Like, what was your thing? We're gonna go in the spoiler zone, so we'll go deeper. But I just wanted to. What's your overall?
Yeah, overall, I was surprised at how much I like it because the theme of the movie that it turned out to be is not my favorite.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's not my favorite. It's just, for me, it's really hard to make a good movie, in my opinion.
You thought it was a supernatural
about that content
film.
One.
You thought it was ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, ugh, this is another ghost movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it turned out to be really good, really well written, really well paced.
Yeah.
And the actors were all good. The kids, the parents,
production values, everything.
Production values, the woman who plays the teacher, like all of the characters were really well picked as actors.
Yeah.
And it was great. I was not bored at all. It was good. I mean, not a lot of jump scares, but just overall enjoyable as a horror movie for sure.
Yeah, yeah. What I would say about it too is, if you're a seasoned horror fan, and you watch a lot of horror like us, there are things in this movie you'll pick up on. And I'll talk about this more in the spoiler zone, but it sort of plays with tropes. It shows you things that are familiar. So then it makes you think that it's a certain kind of film. And then it sends another thing. And then it is constantly tipping the hat to horror throughout.
Yeah.
And I predict this film, once it gets noticed, is going to be like Trick or Treat, that anthology horror film. That's sort of a classic Halloween film. It's a kind of film you want to watch around spooky season. I feel like this is going to be one of those classics because it has all those key elements like the pumpkins and that centers around Halloween.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
It's funny because when the film starts out, there's so many elements that reminded me of the Boogeyman. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, same stuff. Yeah, there's something under your bed. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, kind of tired things.
Yeah.
But then the film, it sort of twists and winds like a snake. And then it inflicts damage not where you would expect. And ultimately, it's a very satisfying video on demand for sure. Cool. The one thing I would say is I went to rent it because I wasn't quite sure, but after watching it, I'm sort of mad that I didn't just go ahead and buy it.
Yeah.
Because this is the kind of movie that I would watch again.
Yeah, totally.
Just to kind of have a nice snacky horror film to enjoy.
It's a good date night movie too, for sure. And it is available on Prime for rent. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think we both liked it, to wrap it up.
Yes.
And I think it's time for us to go to the spoiler zone so we can go a little more in depth. So,
sounds good.
You ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right, do it.
Beware. Spoilers ahead.
Yeah. Here we are. It's so cozy. It's like a darkness, like a warm bathtub. The spoiler zone, I feel I can speak freely.
Yeah. I know it's hard to be vague without giving too much because I hate spoilers.
Yeah. And again, if you're here with
unwelcome
us,
spoilers.
You've seen it already, so we can go a little further in depth. Okay, so I'm going to throw this at you. The stuff I was observing while watching this film.
Okay.
The movie starts out, and it's pretty much the Babadook, The Shining, and Halloween mixed together.
Mm.
So you've got the parents, creepy parents.
Yeah.
Kind of unsettling relationship. Sort of semi-child abuse.
Yeah, I had that. Child abuse.
Creepy little kid, loner kid. So there's the Shining part. You have the scared of the dark thing.
Mm.
Babadook. Mom, not quite sure if she's a good mom. Babadook. Right. And then you have the little kid in school being bullied.
Yeah.
And then they break his pumpkin. They clearly break his pumpkin as an homage to Halloween.
Right.
It's the same thing that happens to the kid in Halloween.
Right.
So there's a lot of moments like this in the film where it's tipping the hat to a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
The scenes with the sister talking through the wall.
Yeah.
Black phone. Total black phone.
Yeah, I didn't catch
So
that.
it's tipping the hat to all these films and kind of mishmashing them. But I think its ultimate goal is to misdirect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, God, the end of the movie where the mom goes, oh, don't let her out. Don't let her out. That's the Ring. That's straight up the Ring.
Yeah.
So, and then when you see the sister, very reminiscent of the Ring.
Yeah.
Ring. But it's a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
A little weirder and a little more fun. I didn't like the CG face, but I have a thing with CG. Like when it gets a little too otherworldly looking.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be an actor in makeup.
Yeah,
or at least the proportions of that.
Yeah.
The scene where the little boys come to...
No, it's the boy and his family.
No, the scene where the little boys come to... Or the boys come to reap revenge.
Yeah.
Where they're wearing the masks.
Yeah.
That's the Others.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there's so many nods
Those masks
to
were
horror.
creepy. they're very cool and creepy.
Yeah, and so tastefully done.
Yeah.
And then when the horror happens, it's a bit over the top, but it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like the film is like saying, you like horror? Well, we like horror too.
Yeah.
We like it this much. And here's this for you, and here's this for you, and here's this for you. And you all know what it is. You know where we're coming from. It's very similar to a Jordan Peele approach. He does that a lot as well. But yeah, I found it really satisfying and fun.
Yeah, it was cool. Like I said, I wasn't sure what it was to start with, but like you said, it was designed that way.
Mm-hmm.
And ghost ones, for me, I just haven't really seen a ghost one where it has blown me away.
Yeah.
That I can think off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously was not a ghost thing.
It was not a ghost thing, yeah.
But what I liked about it was just no one's hands were clean either.
Yeah, no,
Not the kid, not the parents, not the kid up behind the wall.
Yeah.
Except for the teacher, I guess. But other than that, it was just like pretty much everyone's hands were dirty and doing something crazy.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It reminds me of the Stranger Things formula. If you watch Stranger Things and you grew up in the 80s like I did and you did, and you watched a lot of video horror, which it's in my DNA, those films or that series is based off a lot of things conglomerated together. Everything from E.T. to The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, to Halloween, to all these different things conglomerated, but then with its own glue that's unique to Stranger Things, which we both really like.
Yeah.
This is sort of similar to that.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but you're right. It is very similar.
It's like a hodgepodge of everything that's tasty about good horror, fun horror. It's not highbrow or anything like that. But it's still super fun and effective, especially if you want to get in the mood for Halloween season. This is a perfect film
and
for
it's
that.
more creepy vibe than it is like, if you're looking for more of like jump scares and kills and stuff like that. It's not really
but
that.
It does get there.
It gets there. It gets there. But the vibe from the first scene is just creepy.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is pretty cool.
And then the actors are awesome. The woman that plays the mom, she played Kathy Bates's character in Misery in, what was it called? Castle Rock?
Castle Rock.
Yeah, and she was amazing in that.
Yeah.
Like I believed that she was Annie Wilkes young.
Yeah.
And that's a tall order to be able to pull that off.
It is.
And then, oh my God, forget about Homelander. The actor who plays Homelander is so terrifying.
I didn't even recognize him at first.
Yeah, he's so good. I'm telling you, that guy is like unsung.
Yeah.
He's like the best TV villain in a very
good
long
villain.
time.
He has that punchable face, and then he plays off of it. So he does.
Well, what's cool is the actor is like, staunchly, anti. He's anti-white supremacies, and all these douchebags, see him as a figure of that, and he's constantly fighting back, which I think
that's
a pretty interesting spot to be in. But he was really interesting. Seeing him not playing that character was really interesting. And then now it's the kind of movie that when you watch it, you know what has happened. Probably watching it again will be interesting. That's why I wish I would have bought it.
I know.
But anyway, I'll probably buy it when Amazon has a sale. But yeah. But I think for sale, to buy it's like $15.
Yeah, which
and
is
to
pretty
rent
good.
is $6. So yeah, I should have just bought it. But anyway, was there anything else you wanted to talk about in the spoiler zone for this one?
In the spoiler zone, no, I think I would recommend it, especially if you want to have some type of little date night or get ready for Halloween. It's a good.
Yeah, it's a good get ready for Halloween.
Yeah, it's a good starter. Good jump off point.
Cobweb.
Yeah,
I think
Amazon.
we're done with it. Yes.
And now, our feature review.
Okay, are we ready to do Last Voyage of the Demeter?
Yes.
Okay, I gotta say right off, I'm a straight up vampire. So when you say Dracula, there's a standard I expect. So again, it was my birthday weekend, so I told Reyna, there's nothing more I want to do than to watch a bloody Dracula movie. And then when the film released on that Friday, Guillermo del Toro tweeted about it, or X'd about it. I don't know what they call it now that it's called X. And he was singing its praises. He was saying, "Oh, it's like classic Hammer films," which a lot of Del Toro's movies remind me of Hammer films. So for him to say that, and then Stephen King piled on, and he was like, "Yeah, it's really good." So I was in a frenzy to watch this movie.
Yeah.
So we went and saw it. What did you think? What are your initial impressions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love vampire movies too. I love vampires. I think, they're amazing. They have so many layers. I love the romantic part of vampires, the dangerous part of vampires, the sexiness of vampires.
Sure.
None of that was there for me.
Oh, that part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. They definitely went more for just the creature part of it. And in fact, I saw interviews with the director, and he kept bringing up the first Alien film, which I love, of course. And so they were going to go for that approach.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. For me, even comparing it to that, I felt like the film had problems with pace.
Major problems with pace.
There were moments where there was a lot of lulls. And then there was a lot of a little melodramatic dialogue, overly melodramatic dialogue, a little overdone. Almost felt like stage acting at times. I liked the cast. I thought the cast was really great. The kid from Cobweb
was in it.
Was also in this, which is a nice kind of double bill.
Toby.
What's the actor's name?
Woody Norman.
Yeah, so that was interesting. I was excited about the cast. I had heard actors talk about this film being developed, and when I heard Demeter, I'm like, oh wait, of course I've read Dracula, so I knew that name for the ship. So I thought, oh, how interesting! They're gonna focus on that only. Now, similar to you, Dracula, for me, is a very three-dimensional character. He's not just a creature. He has a creature side, and I love when that side is shown. So, see Bram Stoker's Dracula, you see the creature form, you see the gentleman form, you see the old, the old ancestor form, which is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
But then you see him turn into the monster that is the vampire.
Right.
This is only the vampire.
Right.
And
only like Nosferatu.
I was very disappointed with that choice. I think there should have been moments where if I could do the film, I would be like, he's just another passenger. He's like, hey, I don't know what's going on either.
It just wasn't scary.
And I think that would have been way cooler.
There was nothing scary about it.
I thought the design of Dracula reminded me of Barlow from Salem's Lot, which I think is still really super scary. Very much a Nosferatu take.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool, and there were moments where you saw him where it was supposed to be the actor in the prosthetics. I know they leaned into that a lot, but then when you got really close, when you got those showcase moments, they switched it to CG.
Yeah.
And it's just too slick.
Lost its stuff.
It's too slick. The performance gets lost, I feel. And it's too clean.
Because it's not scary.
Yeah. And then in all the reviews I was reading, they kept saying it's gory, it's gory, it's gory, it's gory. It's not really gory.
It's not gory.
It's bloody. There's some blood, but it's not gory.
Yeah, it's not.
There's never moments where you're like, oh, where you're like freaked out by what you just saw.
there was danger, right?
Yeah.
But you never felt that anxiousness of that looming danger.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because it lulled too much.
Yeah,
and
it felt like a 4-hour movie when it was like a 1.5-hour movie. Yeah, or something crazy.
And I'm very disappointed because I love The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and this director did that film. It needed some of that fuckery. Because Dracula can hypnotize. He can do stuff like that. He can create illusions.
There was a lot of misses.
And there wasn't any of that in this film. No. And it really bummed me out. So for me, yeah, I mean, like you guys, I'm a massive horror fan. So, you know, maybe if I saw this on one of the pay channels that I already pay for, I'd be fine with it.
No.
Because for me, it was about a 5 out of 10. But going to the theater on my birthday to see this, I was very disappointed with the film overall.
Yeah. I was disappointed 100%. I just, in the middle of it, I remember I turned to Enzo and he was like nodding off a little. So I was like, he never does that. So I was kind of surprised by that. I'm usually the one that nods off. I know. But I'm usually the one that falls asleep. But it was just the pacing was bad.
It was like really bad. Off, really off. Yeah.
And there was so much potential to be really good.
Yeah.
And I don't like when they fuck with lore either. So
yeah, I don't mind if they do interesting things with lore, like, you know, like 30 Days of Night. There's things in 30 Days of Night that I hadn't seen before. And,
that's true.
But it was still like it's still a bloody and scary.
But I don't like when they fuck with lore and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I just felt like they only put one dimension of Dracula's overall persona in the film, which is the creature form.
Yeah.
And everything else they kind of minimize. There's moments. Well, I'll talk about that in the spoilers zone.
Yeah. Because I know there's a lot I want to say, but I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah. Well, I think we're good. For me, it was about a 5 out of 10.
I'd give it a 4.
Pretty mediocre horror experience.
Yeah.
I would probably still watch it on a pay channel, you know, for free.
Especially
but for
if you're a fan.
Yeah. I mean, it's vampire films are like cleavage, you know.
Excuse me?
Even some cleavage is better than no cleavage.
He loves to test my patience.
I'm sorry. Okay, I think we're ready to leave here and go to the spoiler zone. That way we can go in depth. Are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go.
Beware. Spoilers ahead.
This is not a good Dracula movie.
No. Ugh. I'm so disappointed in this. I was disappointed for you because it was your birthday weekend and you love Dracula and vampires.
Yeah.
So I was really bummed for you. But it just, my biggest issue was the pacing, for sure. And then there was just nothing there. There was like...
All right.
I'm
going to describe to you what the problem was.
Okay.
Now, based on this movie alone,
Are you mansplaining?
No. Imagine you've never seen a Dracula movie, okay? Mm-hmm. You've never seen one, okay? Now, based on this movie alone, tell me what Dracula's personality is like.
Who knows?
Exactly.
You don't know, because nothing is there.
He's just a creature.
Yeah, it could have been any creature. It didn't have to be Dracula.
Yeah. He didn't do things that seemed cunning.
Nope.
He just did...
manipulative.
Which to me would have been the really interesting things. He did things that a hungry dog would do.
Yeah.
And this is Dracula.
Yeah.
This is the king of the vampires.
And then he brought this woman with him in the crate to feed upon her.
I like that element.
That part was cool, but they did nothing with her.
Yeah.
Nothing.
If it were up to me, I would have had her be part of the deception.
100%.
Because the brides of Dracula are, if not, they're kind of scarier than Dracula.
100%. That's what you would expect from her.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But, you know, the doctor fixes her up and she's loyal to the doctor.
Yeah, see, I thought that idea was cool, but I think she should have been like, dude, vampire.
Exactly.
I'm still gonna try to seduce you. I'm still gonna try to fuck you.
The only thing that impressed me, because you just don't see this often, is the kid gets killed.
Yeah. I was looking. I had heard that they go places that not expect. So I'm like, oh, I bet you the kid's gonna die.
That's it.
So I was expecting that, and then another thing
That's
that
why
was
you shouldn't watch trailers.
another thing that was disappointing to me is that the entire crew should have died. Everyone.
Yeah.
Because it is the last voyage of the Demeter. Like, that is part of the story.
He's the only one who should make it.
The ship is run aground and everything. That's how he gets
I felt like they were trying to set it up for
England.
another one, which,
yeah,
I
exactly. They tried to set up for... And then I thought, oh, okay, in the final scenes of the film, again, you're in the spoiler zone, so you've seen this. I thought, oh, okay, we're going to finally see the gentleman form. We're going to see the... And then it looked like... It looked like Schmeagol with a top hat.
Yeah, like that's normal. Sitting in a bar. No one's going to notice.
Yeah. No.
It's ridiculous.
And then then the scene where Dracula finally speaks, it's like he can barely talk.
That's weird.
And Dracula's a gentleman. He's a man of who's lived, many lifetimes. He's super intelligent. So it's like I would expect him to have these great monologues, when he finally speaks, and he has trouble getting out one word.
That was weird.
And I'm like, okay, you really only picked one dimension of this lore.
Yeah, it was really too bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. And again, in the reviews, to me, the non-horror reviews, they were saying, "Oh, it's super gory." It's not gory.
No,
it's not gory. It's slightly bloody. It's gorier than your average, Conjuring universe kind of movie where they keep it really light to get a young audience in there.
Yeah.
But it was not satisfying.
Not at all.
Not for a Dracula film. Not for an R-rated vampire film.
Yeah. Not for a Dracula vampire fan or horror fan.
Yeah.
Like, it just was not satisfying at all. I was really disappointed.
It's really too bad.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the bones were there. The ship design was cool.
Yeah.
The sets were there. I felt like the crew was missing something. I think everyone comported themselves in a very similar way. So it's like, if you watch the original Alien, they're all freaked out, but they're all very different people. Mm-hmm. And then you have, the really interesting thing that happens with Ash, the android thing, and like there's interesting things going on with the crew. So if you're gonna model your film after Alien 1 is not just dull.
Right.
This was dull.
He could have manipulated one of them, or she could have manipulated one of them, or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Something. Well, nothing was there.
Yeah.
And the creature wasn't scary in any form. Like, well, he only had one form, but I didn't find him scary at all.
I think it was trying to be scary, but I don't think it made it to the screen. Like, I was watching makeup tests with the actual actor that played him, and that actor had played the alien creature in Alien Covenant in certain scenes. Of course, that was very CG dominated as well, but so I thought, oh, cool, they're letting the actor do the thing, like the actor be the creature. Right. But it was hard to tell. Like,
I couldn't tell. You couldn't tell an actor was there.
No, it was hard to tell. I feel, maybe this is me being cynical, but sometimes when those big CG moments happen, it's an executive note.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, with the close-up of Dracula, we can tell it's prosthetic. Let's put a slick CGI face on that.
Which is too bad.
And I remember seeing the makeup tests and thinking, wow, that looks cool. And then the CG moments, I'm like, that's not the same as the makeup test. It looks different. The teeth are too perfect. Like, they just changed it. They made it too sterile.
Yeah.
I understand having to add the wings,
sure.
to have him fly and stuff.
Sure.
But it did not feel like an actor performance.
At all.
Which is a real shame.
Yeah.
The actor, that plays him has experience doing that. So.
Yeah. That's too bad. Yeah, totally disappointed. But
Yeah.
again, if you're a Dracula vampire fan, when it streams, you should probably watch it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's somewhere where you can watch it, and it's at no extra cost, I mean, you might enjoy it. Again, this is one of those polarizing films.
Right.
I think it's because I'm very close to Dracula. He's a personal friend. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm really close to who Dracula is. He's like one of my Supermen,
Right.
So
That's not creepy at all.
no, it's not. But yeah, I think that's why it hit me hard.
Yeah, for sure.
It wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
Sorry, babe.
Cool. I think we're done. Okay, we're out of the spoiler zone. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up the episode?
No, I'm just excited. There's a lot of horror stuff we'll be starting to do in September.
Absolutely.
So maybe we could do some podcasts about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Conventions, and one of our friends' bar is going to turn into like a spooky, I don't know what it's called, like speakeasy.
Spooky speakeasy.
Which will be cool. So,
we're going to start like ramping up the costuming stuff too.
Yeah.
Halloween season's just around the corner, so I'm super excited, and I have plans within plans.
But if you're in the LA area for that speakeasy, it's at that 80s bar.
Yeah.
We'll put the link on our Facebook and Instagram page, so you can buy tickets to go. It looks really cool.
Yeah, and if you listen to the show and you want to meet us, just don't be a creep. Maybe we'll be there when you guys are there. We'll probably be in costume in some form. So
yeah, we're gonna ask first to verify if we can go in costume, but if we can, we'll be there in costume.
Yeah, absolutely. Who wants to be a tourist?
Not
so whenever
me.
you go to a Halloween party and you're that douchebag that doesn't, where's your, this is my Halloween. You are a tourist. You're dressed as a tourist. What does a tourist do? They go places, they take pictures, but they don't contribute to those places, right? I'm never a tourist when it comes to horror. I'm contributing somehow to that, to that environment.
Well, it's fun.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's fun.
Very fun.
So, but yeah, looking forward to Halloween season, our season, and
yes, we have some other plans in the works. We had talked about doing a possession episode, which we will definitely do. So we have some new episodes lined up.
Yep.
That we're definitely going to get to. Okay, awesome. I think that's it for this episode, baby.
Awesome. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah.
Scare you later.
The Date Night Horror Show is written and produced by Enzo and Reyna. All music written and produced by Enzo. Find Enzo and Reyna online at thedatenightHorrorshow.com. Do you love the show? Then share it with your horror-loving friends and help spread the word.